Welcome everyone to Sean Talks Wrestling. Today I'll be going over my 15 favorite WWE moments of 2024. These are moments that took place from January 1st, 2024 until, well, the time this video comes out. The moments featured on this list will come from episodes of Raw and SmackDown as well as all the PLEs, so that means NXT will not be included. Sorry Joe Hendry fans, but perhaps the 2025 Royal Rumble could be a moment featured in next year's list if the thing actually happens. What makes a moment to me may differ from what you may think, so it's always important to remember that these are my opinions and not matter of fact. You're more than welcome to tell me how right or wrong I am in the comments down below, but be sure to wait until the end of the video to do so. I'm interested in knowing what you think of the order of my moments and whether you think I missed out on something important. Without further ado, here are my top 15 WWE moments of 2024. Number 15, AJ Styles' fake retirement. At number 15 is the rug pull retirement of AJ Styles. After failing to pull off his biggest challenge to date of taking down Cody Rhodes and becoming the new WWE Undisputed Champion, AJ Styles made a case for one last chance, one last crack at defeating Cody. When the request wasn't granted, AJ Styles felt like there was nothing left for him to do, and rather than be caught up in limbo with no direction, it was time to retire. At the age of 46, just 1 week shy of his 47th birthday, AJ Styles was hanging up his boots, and he chose no better opportunity than to do it in the house that he built. Dressed up to the 11s, AJ Styles made his way out to the ring, appearing somewhat apprehensive of a future without wrestling, ready to make the shocking announcement. Before he did so, AJ requested for Cody Rhodes to come out to the ring so he could thank him and pass the proverbial torch to Cody, the keys to his house, and continue the legacy of excellency in wrestling. If you've been watching wrestling for as long as I have, you knew something was a little stinky the moment AJ came out, and his words didn't exactly simmer down those suspicions. As Cody held AJ's arm up in celebration, AJ turned around and flattened Cody with a clothesline before mounting him to deliver several punches. The retirement was a ruse, and everyone should have seen it coming the moment he decided on a pastel suit to make the announcement. You just never trust a wrestler wearing a pastel suit that talks about retirement, because chances are, they're not only not going to retire, they're about to deliver the ultimate reminder that they have a lot left in the tank. For those who didn't get the chance to see Mark Henry do it to John Cena, it's more or less the same setup, pastel suit and heartfelt speech and all. With the fake retirement speech coming from a wrestler who has aspirations of taking down the champion, it was pulled off to perfection and is a great moment to start off this list. Number 14, Tiffany Stratton wins Money in the Bank. Next up at 14 is the crowning of the 2024 Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton. Not on the list is the men's Money in the Bank winner Drew McIntyre, as his quick cash-in attempt and failure to be successful on it in the same night makes the whole moment feel less significant. Unlike him, Tiffany Stratton still has possession of her briefcase, and after an upgrade to match with her aesthetic, Stratton is currently awaiting the perfect opportunity to make it Tiffy time in the women's division. The match itself was chock full of insane ladder spots, as all wrestlers involved were putting their bodies on the line for a chance at a guaranteed spot to win any title of their choosing. Sure, there were some low points and botches here and there, but the overall impression fans had after the match was that it was one of the best Money in the Bank matches on the women's side in recent memory. And the result was applauded by everyone, as it opened the door to a new superstar in the making in Tiffany Stratton. On top of her victory, we got one of the best spots of the night in Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green both climbing the ladder to grab the suitcase, only for Stratton to tip Chelsea's ladder over and send her catapulting into two tables set up outside the ring. The fantastic setup and the finish was pulled off perfectly, and now the only thing awaiting the WWE Universe is when Stratton will use her briefcase and capture some gold. Number 13, the debut of Jacob Fatu. When it comes to debuts, the more explosive they are, the longer they stay in the memory banks of fans. I think back to the Shield's debut, when Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose took out Ryback and made a statement at that moment. What's even more impressive is when one man takes out three by himself, and that's what we have at number 13 with the debut of Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is an absolute animal that cannot be tamed, and his debut on SmackDown as part of the new bloodline instantly changed the landscape of not only the program he was involved in, but Friday nights as a whole. He didn't just take out any three members of the SmackDown roster. We're talking about Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and the WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes, the top three babyfaces of that brand at the time, and he dismantled all three of them almost single-handedly. To sell the debut even further, Wade Barrett on commentary yelled, "Solo, what the hell have you done?" He turned a pretty underwhelming bloodline group with Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tongaloa into a lethal threat that could strike fear into any wrestler in the WWE. If you go back and watch this moment, you'll even notice Tongaloa and Tama Tonga looking a little hesitant to throw up the ones with Jacob Fatu, because even they were unsure about the unstable nature of the Samoan werewolf. Number 12, Bayley vs. Io Sky at WrestleMania 40. At number 12 is the absolute masterclass of a WrestleMania match between Io Sky and Bayley. 2024 was a phenomenal start for Io, who celebrated the new year as the WWE Women's Champion and watched her then friend and Damage Control teammate win the 2024 Royal Rumble. All wasn't sunshine and gumdrops in the stable, as Bayley discovered the remaining Damage Control team members were laughing behind her back. In a remarkable turn, Bayley confronted Io by breaking out some Japanese of her own and revealing that she knew what was going on. With Bayley declaring that she was challenging Io for the title at WrestleMania, the match was set in stone. Now this is a top moment of 2024 and not a top match, so I'm going to go over what it was about this match that has me including it in the list. The story itself was built up perfectly, and both Bayley and Io are excellent when it comes to selling it, but what stands out to me is the quality of the finish of this match and how both competitors pulled it off. Io is landing moonsault after moonsault, a move that she has used to put away so many opponents, yet Bayley kicks out. When Io goes for a third one, Bayley rolls out of the way and attempts a rose plant, but Io times it to perfection that her dodge of the move almost made it look like Bayley hit it, before fans realize Io managed to evade danger. Bayley then hits a clothesline, finally hits the rose plant, and gets the 1-2-3. The match had pace, it had drama, it had a comeback story, but most importantly, it had a finish that left fans in the arena and at home sitting at the edge of their seat. For me, that's a moment that is hard to keep off any list. Number 11, New Day heel turn on Raw. Number 11 is a bit of a recency bias, but I'm going to go over why the New Day turning heel was such a big moment to me, and to so many. It's hard to establish a group or a story, especially in the modern age, that can last up to 10 years and beyond that. That's exactly what the New Day managed when Xavier Woods recruited a disgruntled Kofi Kingston and Biggie Langston to join him and form a faction. Their goal was to seek a higher purpose, establish themselves as stars, and find a new day that brings them success and gold. That's exactly what they did. A combined 11 Tag Team Championships, 2 WWE Championships, King of the Ring, Intercontinental Championship. Heck, in 2021, they were named the #1 tag team in the 50 greatest WWE tag teams of all time. That's the staying power they had in the WWE, which makes it so crushing to see where things ended up. What elevates this moment even further is the fact that nobody saw this coming. After weeks of Kofi and Xavier at each other's throats, they came out to celebrate their 10-year anniversary and, as it appeared, announced that they were going their separate ways. That's when Biggie came out, not only to celebrate with the team, but to console them and pick them up from the trenches and reunite them as a trio that everyone loved. That's when things got turned upside down, as both Kofi and Xavier turned on Big E, calling him out for not being there when they needed him the most and choosing his new life over them. The disbelief and agony in Big E's eyes is what really sells this, as 10 years of history, success and failures, and traveling the road together were gone in an instant. Big E's line of, "So that's it then?" stands out to me as one of the biggest gut punches in 2024. Number 10, Judgment Day implodes. Breaking into the top 10 at number 10 is the implosion of the Judgment Day. While this group doesn't exactly have the same history and success as the New Day, the way it was pulled off on a grander stage is what helps it stand out just a little more. It also includes not one, but two moments, both connected to the Judgment Day group, and both playing a major role in the change of direction for the group, for better or for worse. We all know the Judgment Day and their run in the WWE, first as a trio with Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley, to the last edition that featured the latter two alongside Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough. While the group had some success and worked well together, things began to sour as Priest and Ripley started to take more of a leadership role as the heavyweight champions on Monday Night Raw. It didn't help the situation when Ripley was sidelined with a shoulder injury, as Liv Morgan began to pursue Dirty Dom in an attempt to take away everything from Rhea, something she promised to do. Well, that's exactly what ended up happening in the end. Upon her return from injury, Rhea would challenge Liv for the title she never lost, and the two put on a SummerSlam Classic before Dominic Mysterio turned on Rhea, sliding a chair into the ring for Liv to use while he distracted the referee. To make matters worse, Dominic planted a kiss on Liv, wiping away any doubt of his intentions. The first major blow to the group had been dealt, but we weren't done there. Later that night, Damian Priest defended his heavyweight championship against Gunther, and when it appeared he would be on his way to doing just that, Finn Balor turned on Damian, helping Gunther's leg on the ropes to break up a pin. The replay showed on the Titantron, allowing Damian to see what happened, and when he attempted to grab Finn, that's when Gunther stuck him in a sleeper hold and defeated Damian, becoming the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It was honestly a breakup most people saw coming, as the writing was on the wall with Finn looking disgruntled with Damian, but Dominic turning on Rhea on the same night just elevated this implosion to the next level. Where they went after this? The jury's still out, but as two standalone moments leading to the dismantling of the Judgment Day, this deserves to be here. Number 9. Rhea Ripley relinquishes the World Heavyweight Championship title. At number 9 is Rhea Ripley's relinquishing of the Women's World Heavyweight Championship and the lasting effect it had on the entire division, as well as the Judgment Day. This edition of Monday Night Raw was held in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, my hometown, and you bet I was there to see it live. After winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 39, Rhea dominated the division for the next year, taking down anyone that got in her way and becoming one of the most decorated champions in the 2020s. If you compare it to Becky Lynch's combined 5 title reigns, Rhea's singular reign lasted a whole 70 days longer. So when Rhea came out, arm in a sling and championship over her shoulder, there was an air to her that was different. She was no longer a proud and confident champion, but instead a pissed off and defeated representation that was forced into a decision she wanted no part of. Announcing she would be gone for an extended period due to a legitimate shoulder injury, Rhea announced that she would be relinquishing the championship due to her inability to defend it. The decision not only left the audience in attendance stunned, but left Rhea visibly upset, with tears forming in her eyes. For those that may not remember, Rhea was still a heel at this point, albeit a likable heel among many crowds, and the Montreal fans were cheering and chanting Mami in support of Rhea. The moment gets sold even more when Liv Morgan comes out to taunt Rhea, laughing at her and rubbing it in her face that she was doing to her what Rhea had done to Liv long before. Despite not being able to do anything physical to Liv, Rhea still wanted to get her hands on her and even landed a headbutt on one of the security guards attempting to hold her back. This moment stands out to me for 2 particular reasons. One being how well Rhea sold the despair and sadness in her announcement as something she never wanted to do, but was forced into. The second being how much it's done for the Raw division since. Liv Morgan is on a lengthy title reign and securing her spot as one of the top women in the WWE. And lest you forget, she defeated Becky Lynch to do so, and in turn, we've gotten one of the best women's feuds between Rhea and Liv in quite some time. Number 8. Jey Uso wins the Intercontinental Championship. At number 8 is Jey Uso finally getting that proverbial monkey off his back by capturing his first singles title, defeating Braun Breaker to become the new Intercontinental Champion. For Jey Uso fans around the world, this was one of those moments that will forever be printed into the memory banks. After departing from the bloodline in order to make a name for himself, Jey Uso became main event Jey Uso on Monday nights, an ambitious attempt by the WWE to build a new star and elevate someone into the main event. For Jey, it almost seemed flawless. He had aura, he had the crowd eating out of his hands, and when he got away from the yeet portions of his promos, he was capable of cutting some pretty good ones. Jey Uso attempted to dethrone Damian Priest and become the new World Heavyweight Champion, a move that made sense if you want to build up the guy that calls himself main event Jey Uso into the actual main event. When that didn't work out, the next move was to gun for the Money in the Bank, another failed attempt on his part. In order to establish him as a singles champion, Jey Uso then went on to win the number 1 contender tournament for a chance to take on Braun Breaker, and on the September 23rd edition of Raw, Jey Uso would climb that mountain of success and defeat Braun Breaker to become the new Intercontinental Champion. I want you to go back and rewatch this match from bell to bell and tell me this wasn't a quality Intercontinental Championship match and that it wasn't worthy of the main event spot on that episode of Raw. You just can't. I also want you to rewatch the crowd reaction when the 3 fall is counted. I always say that if your victory sparks such excitement that fans are literally jumping up and down and screaming, you did your job right. And that's what happened here, as Jey Uso was able to cast away any doubt that he was a main event attraction. For all the Jey Uso fans watching, I can't lie, this was a fantastic moment and one that is deserving of this spot on the list. Number 7. The return of Roman Reigns. In 2024, we saw our fair share of face and heel turns, and even one instance of a heel turn into an even bigger heel, but I can't recall the last time I saw someone turn from heel to face without even being there. At number 7, that's exactly what we have with the return of Roman Reigns, the OTC. After losing the WWE Undisputed Championship to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40, Roman Reigns kind of vanished from the WWE scene. He was nowhere to be seen on Friday Night SmackDown, and the bloodline changed and evolved without him, casting aside Jimmy Uso and bringing in Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa to help Solo Sikoa shape a new bloodline. Leading up to SummerSlam, which I have to point out was just such a good show with so many moving pieces, Solo Sikoa was dropping subtle hints en route to challenging Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship, name-dropping Roman a few times, and even taking out Paul Heyman when he refused to acknowledge him, and even wearing the Ulafala, something that was given to Roman by his elders. You could cut tension with a knife, and the crowd started chanting "We want Roman," which is crazy considering how happy crowds were a few months prior when Roman lost to Cody. When that new remix of Head of the Table blasted over the speakers, you could see everyone in the arena dropping their jaws, jumping in the air, and raising up the ones to the sky. After an absence of several months, Roman Reigns was back, and the crowd was acknowledging him. He hit a Superman punch, finished off Solo with a spear, and helped Cody retain. The original Tribal Chief was back, and as Michael Cole brilliantly stated, the revival of the Roman Empire had begun. Number 6. Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles in France. Number 6 features the amazing wrestling fans of France for the Backlash PLE. The moment I'm referring to lends more to what took place in the main event of Backlash, but I would be wrong to not bring up other key moments in the night that really made the France crowd, hands down, the best wrestling crowd of the year. They were loudly singing Randy Orton's theme song despite a language barrier. They went nuts for Bayley during her entrance. They were popping for the spot with Kevin Owens hitting a second rope brainbuster on Tama Tonga into a pile of chairs. Jey Uso's entrance was one of his best of the year. And overall, any theme song that had words, the French fans were bound to sing along. When AJ Styles was introduced, the crowd began chanting, "Il est vraiment phénoménal," which, as you probably guessed, translates to, "He's really phenomenal." As AJ is soaking it all in, the camera facing AJ is literally bouncing up and down from the arena's reaction and chanting, showing just how visceral and engaged the fans were in this match, and in particular, AJ Styles. The match itself? Oh, you guessed it. Phenomenal. A match so good, even Dave Meltzer couldn't help but give it 5 stars. I could honestly give this crowd in itself the number 6 spot, but if one of the moments from that night stands out to me the most, it's the main event. Number 5. Women's mid-card title announcements. It's been forever that this idea has been discussed and tossed around, and with the wealth of riches that is the women's division and how many strong candidates there are on both brands, it was only a matter of time before we saw mid-card titles on each show to give them something to fight for, instead of kind of being caught in limbo until they get their chance at one of the 2 world titles. We already got our inaugural Women's United States Champion in Chelsea Green, a move that a lot of us saw coming, and for the rest, expected either Chelsea or Michin to be crowned as the champion. Ironically, both these women were in the final of the tournament, with Chelsea going over. Sure, Chelsea has been somewhat of a comedic character, but if you look at her full body of work over the last year, whether it's the table spot that she took at Money in the Bank, the dumpster match with Michin, and plenty of examples of good character work, this was ultimately Triple H giving her her due. The Intercontinental title on Raw is yet to be determined, and eyes are on Dakota Kai to win it all. With both Raw and SmackDown moving to 3-hour shows in the new year, there's more than enough time to give both the men and women mid-card divisions some time to blossom. Only time will tell how Triple H and the production team uses those 6 hours of weekly television to tell them, but I'm keeping the faith for now. Number 4. John Cena Retirement Tour announced. At number 4 is a moment that has tugged at the heartstrings of many, myself included. John Cena announcing his retirement tour in 2025. Yes, 2025 will be the final year we see John Cena in a WWE ring, in what is expected to be a full-time schedule complete with appearances at all the big shows. This means we'll get one more WrestleMania moment, one more Royal Rumble entry, and weekly appearances of the Doctor of Thugonomics. For someone who taught a young generation about hustle, loyalty, and respect, John Cena has hustled harder than anyone in his time, remained loyal to the product that made him, and earned every ounce of respect he's gathered over the last 2 decades. In his final year, he'll have the opportunity to win his 17th World Championship and surpass the legendary Ric Flair, something nobody could have ever believed to be true. Yet, a young kid from West Newbury, Massachusetts, who grew up as a wrestling fan, now has that very chance, and I hope he does it. Number 3. Hell in a Cell. At number 3 is the 4 words that would send chills down the spine of the toughest individual. Hell in a Cell. That's where CM Punk and Drew McIntyre's clash finds itself. Hell in a Cell wasn't brought out for the gimmick. It made sense for Punk and Drew to clash inside the structure after spending the better parts of the calendar year at each other's throats. Drew had won the first match of their feud, and Punk picked up the win in their second encounter, so Hell in a Cell served as the final chapter to determine who would be victorious after everything was over. The story was served to wrestling fans to perfection, and I believe it's easily the best feud in wrestling of 2024. The match itself, bloody, violent, sadistic, and at some points, hard to watch. And that's exactly what Hell in a Cell should be. Both men went through literal hell at various points, with Punk leaking blood after being thrown into the cell wall, and Drew following that up by gushing blood after taking a toolbox to the forehead. CM Punk went on to win the match, and both sold the injuries post-match, with Drew looking out of it and Punk collapsing outside the ring. This was hands down my favorite Hell in a Cell match of all time, and was also the 4th longest Hell in a Cell match in history, which is insane when you consider Punk's age and his sheer tenacity to push his body's limits. This was an easy number 3 for me, and could have easily been number 1 at that, had it not been for the final 2 spots. Number 2. Wyatt 6 arrive. Just shy of the top spot at number 2 is the arrival of the Wyatt 6. Closing out the first half of 2024, the Wyatt 6 made their long-awaited debut in brilliant fashion on an episode of Raw. To close out the show on June 17, the lights went out and a familiar piano key began to play as we see a door with smoke coming out of it. This was our introduction to the Wyatt Six group: Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy, and Bo Dallas, going by his alter ego of Uncle Howdy. This was by far one of the most well-produced segments of the year from WWE, and this ended up closing out that episode with Bo Dallas yelling out, "We're here," before the show came to a close. It was picture perfect and a brilliant way to introduce the audience to the new group, and it showcased just how terrifying and unpredictable they could be. The Wyatt Six faction is a perfect combination of paying homage to the late Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, while also serving as the re-entry of Dexter Lumis, Eric Rowan, and Nikki Cross, as well as bringing up Joe Gacy to the main roster. And Bo Dallas? Long gone are the days of Bo Leave and the B-Team. We are actively watching him shapeshift into the second coming of Bray, or more appropriately, into Taylor Rotunda. Nothing will ever replace the original Wyatt family, or Bray Wyatt himself, but the Wyatt Six aren't doing that. They're carrying his memory for an extended period and giving us fans the closure we all needed after Bray and Luke's untimely passing. For that, I'll forever be thankful. Number 1. Cody Rhodes finishes his story. And finally, at the number 1 spot, yeah, you guessed it, it's Cody Rhodes finishing his story and defeating Roman Reigns to become the new WWE Undisputed Champion. Yeah, it may seem like the easy choice, but sometimes the easy choice is easy for a reason. It's hard to debate this one, at least for me, because of how much went into telling the story and how important it was to finish it. Think back to Cody's monster return to the WWE at WrestleMania 38, and how quickly the WWE trusted him to become the company's top babyface, leading him into WrestleMania 39 and challenging Roman for the first time. But at the end of the day, Cody came up short and couldn't complete his story. It was a sad conclusion to the show, but at the same time, Roman's historical run continued. Cody would go on to win the 2024 Rumble, joining Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold Steve Austin as back-to-back Rumble winners. Night 1 would have Roman and The Rock team up to take on Cody and Seth, and if they won, Night 2 would be Bloodline Rules. Spoiler alert, they won. Night 2 was Bloodline Rules. In Night 2, Cody's chances of completing his story looked dire, as he entered a Bloodline Rules match against Roman Reigns, the man that nobody could dethrone in over 1,000 days. The Usos got involved, Solo came out to help Roman, but then John Cena arrived to take out Solo. Unhappy with his interruption, The Rock came out to confront Cena. The two had the iconic stare down in the middle of the ring where both wrestlers looked side to side at the crowd, and The Rock hit Cena with a rock bottom. Then, the Shield's theme hit, and for a split second I thought Dean Ambrose was back, I'm not gonna lie. But it was just Seth, decked in a Shield attire, coming in to serve as distraction before he was hit with a Superman punch. And if that wasn't enough, Undertaker came out to confront The Rock. He gave him a chokeslam and then dipped. I kid you not, this may have been the craziest, wildest, most overbooked chaotic finish to a match I've ever seen. The ending included Roman hitting Seth in the back with a chair, which is textbook storytelling that could not have been done any better. And his attack on Seth served as one mistake, as Cody then reversed a spear, hit the trio of crossroads for the finish, and picked up the 1, 2, 3. When you build up a championship run of over 1,000 days and create an unstoppable, unbeatable champion, the eventual fall from grace has to mean something. Cody left the company in 2016 to redesign himself after months of frustration in the Stardust character, and in doing so, he became the best version of Cody Rhodes and someone deserving of this main event status and leader of the company. So there you have it. There are my 15 WWE moments in 2024. I honestly tried to narrow it down to 10 moments, but there were honestly too many to keep it lower than 15. In fact, there are still quite a few that should be on this list that were just edged out. But if I don't draw the line somewhere, I could end up with a top 20, top 25, heck, even top 50 moments. Please let me know in the comments down below what moments you think I missed on, and which ones you don't agree with me at all. Everyone has their opinions, and I'm interested in yours. You've spent all this time watching me ramble about my 15 moments, so be sure to take the time to tell me yours, and I'll happily react and give you my thoughts. That does it for this one. I really appreciate you all for spending some time with me on this video. It took quite a while to put together my choices, write out the script, and get the video out to you, and it means the world to me that you dedicated some time out of your day to watch it. If you like this video, be sure to click the thumbs up. If I earned your subscription, hit that sub button and click the bell to receive all notifications for future videos. I want to wish you all a safe and happy holidays and a happy new year as well. Here's to 2025 surpassing the previous year's wrestling, and we get bigger and better memories in the new year. Please enjoy yourselves, but remember to always be kind to one another and stay safe.